A very good evening to you all. Thank you for watching UBC Television, and this is the 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold Mugalo Muhammad right here on Sign Language. And without further ado, let's take a look at tonight's top stories. In our news tonight, President Museveni criticizes the educated for not sharing knowledge. Furthermore, the former Ministry of Finance Permanent Secretary Keith Mwanafunzi dies at 64 years. Karamoja Affairs Minister Dr. Mary Chitutu granted bail. And Girl Guides seek financial support to equip skilling centers. Thank you for joining us. Once again, we now give you the news in detail. The Minister of State for Planning, Amos Lugalobi, has been arrested and detained at Chira Division Police. The police issued a statement through their Twitter handle which reads that following the ongoing investigations into the alleged theft and diversion of iron sheets meant for the Karamoja region, the office of the DPP has sanctioned criminal charges against Honorable Amos Lugalobi, the Minister of State for Finance, Planning and Economic Development. As a result, he has been arrested and detained at Chila Division pending court. More details will follow, it read. The arrest of the Minister Lugalobi comes at a time the Minister of Karamoja Affairs, Mary Goretti Chitutu, has been granted bail. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has hosted Muslims to the Iftar dinner at State House in Entebbe. The president, who was represented by the Vice President Jessica Alupo, congratulated the Muslim community and the country for going through the first 20 days of the holy month of Ramadan. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni also called upon the Muslim leaders to take on the lead in his wealth creation campaigns. Let's have a look at some of these details.
Has taken care of the issues. Even the other day in the mosque, including requesting His Excellency the President to create a special time for you to discuss those issues which were raised, ranging from the presidential pledges, also the induction of the members of the Muslim Supreme Council, and so on and so forth. So we'll remind him again to ensure that he creates for you time so that you can have that interaction with him. So for this evening, his message goes as follows. I wish to thank you all for honoring my invitation. I congratulate the Muslim community in Uganda for coming this far in the month of Ramadan. It is my prayer that you continue upholding the virtues of discipline, humility, and charity, which you have displayed during the fasting period. Your righteousness should not be limited only to the holy month of Ramadan. It should be part of you throughout. I want to use this occasion to rally the Muslim community to join the NRM's wealth creation sensitization drive that I am currently conducting across the country. Whereas we can have spectators in sports and in the theater, wealth creation must involve everyone. The NRM government is a proven champion of religious freedom in Uganda. Everyone is free to worship and serve God as they so wish. However, we also emphasize that spiritual edification must be complemented by efforts to create wealth and jobs for the homesteads. This is because life has both spiritual and material needs. This implies that you cannot satisfy the spirit and starve the body. In order to achieve happiness, both the spirit and the body must be fully catered for. The body has need for food, clothes, medicine, shelter, etc. In a modern economy, you cannot obtain the above without money. They have a monetary cost. Moneylessness in the modern economy is equivalent to social suicide. You cannot survive if you are not earning money. This is why we talk of eliminating subsistence farming, i.e., the habit of working only for the stomach or food. A person who produces only for his or her own consumption has little output. Such a person cannot prosper because their labor is insufficient to ably provide all the necessities of life. For instance, the 39% of the households still engaged in subsistence farming must be integrated into the money economy to tap into their dominant potential.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has assured the people of Obongi district that their area will soon get electricity and will also be linked with the rest of Uganda through a good road network. The president, who was concluding his 3-day tour of West Nile sub-region to popularize the wealth creation program, made these remarks while addressing a public rally at Obongi district headquarters grounds, where he also, on arrival, commissioned Obongi district local government council hall. The president explained to the gathering why it has taken so long to connect Obongi to the national power grid. He said a temporary solution was therefore sought, and that was to develop Nyagak Power Station that will generate 2 megawatts and will be operational by November 2023, ending the long darkness that has been experienced by the people of the area. On the side of the road network infrastructure, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni assured the people of Obongi of the government's commitment to link them with the rest of Uganda. Earlier, the president visited St. Martin Komboni missionaries in Parolinia, where he was received by the management of the facility, led by the manager, Innocent Okatre. He was taken on a guided tour to the projects run by the facility that included 2 fish ponds, sunflower and simsim oil processing and production line, among others. Further still, President Museveni has criticized the educated people who don't share their knowledge with the uneducated. President Museveni, who is on a tour on investment and wealth creation in West Nile under the theme Securing Your Future Through the Wealth Creation and Shared Prosperity, made the revelation while meeting West Nile journalists at State Lodge Arua. He explained that if the educated share their knowledge with the uneducated, the latter would be able to know the disadvantages of bush burning and what they should do to forego nomadism. General Museveni further lashed out at the people who go into leadership when they don't have an ideological compass. Let's have a look at these details.
Do piggery, and you can even look at zero grazing for cows, but using food or animal feed not produced by you. We can organize and we produce, we can organize these government farms, or even buy land. Government produces pasture, and these people who have got very little land buy it. Then we have other people who are producing animal feeds for chicken and for pigs and for that, and then buy it. So now these managers now, can no longer, because of the LWD, land with disability, they can no longer grow the animal feed themselves, or even feed themselves, even feed the family.
There was an incident in Kampala, and the Chief of Defense Forces had to come out and apologize to the country, to the media. So the position of government is that journalists need to be protected, and there is no justification whatsoever of harassing or beating or limiting your work. But we just need to have skills on both sides on how you can coexist. So like that incident, we shall investigate it.
Majority of the journalists in front of you here are actually foot soldiers. They are the ones who move from one place to another to look for news, and they love their work and profession. But the only problem is most of them are freelancers, which means that they have no contract at work. They are only paid for the news they publish in case they publish anyway.
The former permanent secretary and secretary to the Treasury, Keith Mwanafunzi, has died. Mwanafunzi, who was at the time of death was the permanent secretary in the office of the Prime Minister, died in the hospital in Milan, Italy, where he had been flown on Sunday for treatment, according to a family source. Now, members of Parliament have described the fallen permanent secretary of office of the Prime Minister, Keith Mwanafunzi, as an intelligent, straightforward and a corrupt-free person. Some of the members of Parliament remember him for even clashing with the executive over borrowing loans while he was the permanent secretary to the Ministry of Finance. Mwanafunzi died on Thursday, as he is one of the few top government officials that have served without being involved in any corruption scandal.
Very well. First, when I was chair of the Committee on Environment and Natural Resources here in Parliament, he was a member of the board of the Rural Electrification Agency. And we had a lot of challenges with the Rural Electrification Agency. Actually, at that time, Rural Electrification Agency was going through a lot of transformation. But Mr. Chris Mwanafunzi was one of the people who was really dependable on this. He was very reliable, very reasonable, very rational at all times. Unfortunately, at that point in time, he had started suffering, so he was on and off. And I think some of the challenges we had in the Rural Electrification Agency would not have worsened if he was around.
Anybody who has been in Parliament, especially on committees to do with either finance, accountability and economy, must have interacted with Keith Mwanafunzi a number of times. And there are not so many accounting officers or permanent secretaries who would do what Keith Mwanafunzi would do. Is this kind of person, and there are times when we actually on a collision path with him. And there are also times when he was at a collision path with the executive. There are times when Keith would say we should not borrow anymore. But you end up seeing a loan coming to Parliament. And you would look back to Keith that now we see a loan, you are the permanent secretary, Minister of Finance, and would say, me I guided. So in other words, he would exonerate himself from certain issues. And there haven't also been so many scandals, except this, actually in his service, the first scandal where we are seeing him involved is this one in OPM. But even then, he came out very, very quickly and issued a statement. In other words, he also exonerated himself with that. So we shall miss his knowledge as far as economics is concerned.
We have lost not the usual Ugandan. This is a special person of very high quality person, the high caliber. I never went to school together, but we grew up together. And at one time we shared a room together in Goretti. We have grown up together. Keith Mwanafunzi is a special person, very brilliant, articulate, and dependable, reliable, and accessible. I don't think I can compare Mwanafunzi with anybody here we have in this country, I can tell you, in terms of public servants. This is a man who has grown up. His father was a reverend, canon. Even the mother passed away, I remember. But he stood by the family with his two brothers and sisters. Keith has been special. He has touched most of our lives. Some of us will not even possibly believe him because he has touched us in a different way. Keith has touched many lives of Ugandans.
And in that regard, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Robin Nabanja, has said that the late Keith Mwanafunzi served the nation in a number of portfolios, and government is holding a number of meetings to plan on how to return his body back to Uganda. The Premier was delivering her condolence message following the death of the Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, Minister Keith Mwanafunzi, who died at an Italian hospital on Thursday evening.
I take the honor to inform the country that we have lost the Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Mr. Keith Mwanafunzi, who has been in service for quite some long time. He died from Italy in Milan. We are currently engaged in a number of meetings. One, to bring his body back, and two, to give him a decent send-off as government. So we shall be informing you the programs as they will run.
And please, can I ask the awardees?
A Makerere University senior economist, Professor Augustus Nwagaba, has defined the late Keith Mwanafunzi as one who was a problem solver during his days of service. He says Mwanafunzi was the embodiment of the microeconomics policy framework that ever walked Ugandan development economics trajectory. We have the details.
We must remain disciplined.
The former Permanent Secretary and Secretary to the Treasury, Keith Mwanafunzi, died at the age of 64 after battling sickness. Keith died in Italy, where he was receiving treatment at Milan Hospital. The unfortunate incident left many shocked. One of those who worked with him is Professor Augustus Nwagaba, a senior economist and the chairman, Reef Group of Companies.
We had worked together also in the development of the Poverty Eradication Action Plan. You know, this was around 1997. He was very instrumental. Remember, Uganda had been listed under HIPC countries, highly indented, poor countries. And because with the case and the likes of other people in the Ministry of Finance, Uganda was able to get out of those doldrums.
Nwagaba says Keith participated in the drafting of the National Development Plan framework.
He was the national consultant on this process, and we received a lot of support from Keith as a PSC-ST.
In line of executing his duties, Mwanafunzi never gave room for compromise, a thing that defined his professional character.
We belong to the same sector, what we call sector called accountability sector, in which it has, among others, the anti-corruption unit of State House, the IGG office, CID, the Accountant General's office, and ETC. So, in that respect, it's not a choice. It's a must. You must work with those organizations. He uses his professional competence and then professional authority. Some people may call it intellectual arrogance. Actually, Keith ran a very high risk of being labeled arrogant.
But Mwanafunzi also made contributions to the current state of affairs in government.
He's the one who worked on the payroll, changing this payroll in the public service, making sure that the payroll of public servants downloaded, first were uploaded on the OBT, and then eventually the payment of public servants is commensurate with the other active people in the public service. I don't know whether this system is working very well now. I don't know how it is, but Keith made a very serious contribution in the management of the payroll.
Government is in close contact with the family to arrange for the return of his body. More details shall be availed in the due course. Ivan Kahwa and Tony Kent Chaze, UBC News in Kampala.
Well, the late Keith Mwanafunzi has been described as an economic guru whose death leaves a big gap in Uganda's financial and economic sector. But who exactly was this man? Here is a profile of Keith Mwanafunzi, the just fallen Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister.
$75.6 billion has been raised in Q3 to cater for education capitation requirements for term 1 of school here.
It was not a one-day affair that he became this economically bright, financially informed, and academically positioned. It is a birth and careers journey that began on December 12, 1961, when Keith Mwanafunzi was born. His birth was an addition to the population of present-day Rukungiri district in western Uganda. He was born to the late Reverend Kosia Kajwenjwe and the late Zerida Kajwenjwe, becoming a family member of 7 children, 4 boys and 3 girls. His late father, having served as a head teacher of a primary school for many years before joining church ministry, valued education for his children. Growing up in a family of educators, a deep appreciation for the importance of education and power of knowledge was instilled in him. This is how Mwanafunzi was able to attend Makerere University, where he earned a bachelor's degree in economics. He later went on to proceed for a master's degree in economic policy and planning at the University of London.
When you hear somebody now talking that money is delayed like a development expenditure of local government, is a liar.
It was after completing his studies that he began his career as an economist, working for Uganda's Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Over the years, he held various positions within the ministry, including serving as the Principal Finance Officer and the Director of Budget. In these roles, he participated in shaping Uganda's economic policies and promoting sustainable development. For his expertise in budgeting and financial management, he has been widely respected and credited with stabilizing growth to Uganda's economy. Under his leadership, the Ugandan government implemented a number of policies aimed at promoting economic growth and reducing poverty. One of the most notable achievements was the introduction of a medium-term expenditure framework, which helped to improve budget predictability and transparency. Mwanafunzi is also known for being instrumental in promoting public-private partnerships and increasing foreign investment in the country. To this effect, he worked tirelessly to attract foreign investors to the country, particularly in the areas of infrastructure and agriculture.
6.7 trillion has been raised for the current expenditures, while 3.7 or 0.8 has been released for development expenditures.
At the time of his death, he was the permanent secretary office of the Prime Minister, having been moved from secretary to the Treasury in 2021. Despite his many accomplishments, Mwanafunzi remained humble and committed to making a difference in his community. He was widely regarded as one of Uganda's most influential and respected economists who continued to play an important role in shaping the country's economic future. Henry Okrut, UBC.
May his soul rest in eternal peace. Karamoja Affairs Minister Mary Goretti Chitutu has been granted cash bail of 10 million shillings and has sureties 200 million Ugandan shillings non-cash. Her brother Michael Naboya was also granted cash bail of 3 million shillings and 100 million shillings non-cash for the sureties. Chitutu and her brother are facing charges of causing loss of public property by diverting 14,500 pieces of iron sheets that were meant to benefit the people of Karamoja under the Karamoja Community Empowerment Program. These are the details.
As Minister for Karamoja Affairs Mary Goretti Chitutu and her brother Michael Chitutu Naboya were appearing before court. Before Magistrate Joan Yasiro, Minister Chitutu, as directed during the last court sitting, presented 5 sureties for court to grant her bail. Those who stood sureties for Minister Chitutu include Dominic Jududu Mafabi, State Minister for Eudare, Godfrey Wakoli, Member of Parliament for Butiru County, Manafa District, Peter Christopher Werike, Member of Parliament for Bobolo West Constituency, and Gregory Mafabi, businessman. Through her lawyers Michael Wamasepo, Jody Byamukama and John Musime, Minister Chitutu asked court to release on bail with fair and reasonable conditions. In her ruling, Chief Magistrate Joan Yasiro, following the substantiality of the presented sureties, was pleased and granted Minister Chitutu bail of 10 million cash and 200 million non-cash to sureties.
So A1's bail is granted on the following terms and conditions. 1, A1 is going to make a cash deposit of 10 million shillings. Sureties. Each of you is bonded to 200 million shillings, not cash. Then thirdly, the land titles, the 2 land titles will be deposited with this code.
Relatedly, Magistrate Asilo also granted bail of 3 million to Michael Naboya Chitutu, Minister's brother.
Each surety is bonded to 100 million shillings, not cash. So should he abscond, please be ready to deliver 100 million.
In the same court, prosecution led by Jonathan Muwaganya responded to the application in which defense John Musime raised the point of sub judice rule on how the DPP's office and the media are handling the matter outside court.
Provided that the publications are not on the merits of the case, we would be overstretching the sub judice rule.
Following prosecution's submissions, defense, however, withdrew the application, notifying court to make a formal application regarding this issue come the next court sitting. This case will resume on 27th April 2023. For mention,
we come with her from the same district with my colleague, so definitely wouldn't want to say that Goretti will run away. How will he run? Then the whole district will have no representation, because all of us here may end up being committed. But that cannot happen. What has happened is not something which is difficult. But
yeah, this is our sister. We hail from the same area. We've worked together in cabinet in the previous years, and as one of the leaders from our zone, I'm glad that bail has been granted. Of course, we all are law-abiding citizens. This is what we have been looking forward to, and I gladly welcome the decision of her worship.
Deborah Namamonde, Nantongo Rebecca, UBC News.
And then Northern Uganda members of parliament are asking the Prime Minister Robina Nabbanja to extract her statement in which she said that the iron sheets meant for Northern Uganda will be sent to Karamoja as a solution to the stolen iron sheet saga. The members of parliament said that the attempt to divert the iron sheets meant for Northern Uganda to replace stolen ones of Karamoja by ministers is a sign of incompetence by her office.
The Prime Minister, Robina Nabbanja, recently said she plans to relocate iron sheets meant for northern Uganda to Karamoja. According to the Premier, this was a solution to the stolen iron sheets by the ministers to Karamoja. The Premier's utterances have not been well received by the members of Parliament from the region.
And as concerned members of Parliament from the Greater North, we want to express our disappointment with the Prime Minister herself, and also condemn that kind of incompetent ways of problem solving. Because you see, you cannot dig two holes in an attempt to fill the other one.
The Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, she's not being honest of herself. You have seen now trying to get the solutions for the iron seats that was taken and distributed to her and our ministers. They are now confused, and she's now trying to say, let us pick the iron seats from northern Uganda and replace those ones who were stolen by the ministers. I think this is total madness. We have never seen this kind of madness in this country. The Right Honourable Prime Minister should withdraw her statement immediately.
Other MPs say her utterances show sign of incompetence and mismanagement by the OPM that calls for a forensic audit.
We demand an apology, immediate withdrawal of the unqualified statement of the Prime Minister, or a direct resignation in admission of incapacity to command the office of the Prime Minister.
The legislators have also wondered as to why the office of the Prime Minister has been keeping the iron seats meant for northern Uganda for all these years without distributing them to the beneficiaries.
All these members of Parliament, you see them here, they have written letters asking for iron sheets, and someone was sitting on these letters, not responding, keeping them there. So I don't know whether it was a deliberate move that these iron sheets will be kept there so that when some are stolen, others will be replaced. We are very disappointed, and as leaders from the region, we therefore want to appeal, and we will petition formally. Number one on our petition that we want to address is the iron sheets available should be distributed to all our districts with immediate effect.
However, in an interview with the Prime Minister, that proposal has been dropped by the President. Instead, the one for returning the iron seats is the one that was upheld.
That was a suggestion that I had brought before the President had written to me. But the President's suggestion takes precedence. And you can see people have started returning the iron sheets. They are buying iron sheets. Remember, that was one of my suggestions. I had brought 3. Do you remember? So one was to return the iron sheets, which was upheld by the President. So we are going with the President's directive, and coordinating to make sure that people return the iron sheets themselves, not through any affirmative program. By the way, it is me who even told them that there were some iron sheets.
Philip Aguta for UBC News at Parliament.
Thank you so much.
The Archbishop Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu is to present the case of breaking away from the Church of England since it violated the biblical teachings on marriage. This was communicated during the press conference held at Archbishop Palace at Namirembe while briefing on the GAFCON conference.
Church of Uganda is to join the rest of other Christian countries to attend the 4th Global Anglican Future Conference, which is to be held in Kigali, Rwanda. According to the Archbishop of Church of Uganda, Dr. Samuel Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, over 200 Christians from different dioceses in Uganda are expected to attend this conference.
Every one of our 37 dioceses is represented. Bishops, wives, clergy, and lay readers from around the country will represent the Church of Uganda.
Kazimba highlighted on the purpose of this conference towards Christian community and in restoring the authentic Anglican biblical faith.
There will be inspiring worship, Bible teaching from the book of Colossians, and practical sessions on a variety of topics relevant to ministry in our contemporary world.
Kazimba, however, cited that it is during this conference that Church of Uganda will present its case of breaking away from Church of England, since it violated the rights governing the church.
The Bible consistently teaches that homosexuality is a sin. God, therefore, cannot bless what he calls sin. Those who teach something different than what the Bible teaches are considered false teachers to the existing leadership structure in the global Anglican Communion. They have not only failed to discipline such false teaching, but have allowed it to spread like cancer to other Anglican provinces.
The 4th Global Anglican Church Conference, which will bring more than 1,300 delegates from 53 countries, will be held from 17th to 21st April 2023 under the theme, "To Whom Shall We Go? To Whom Shall We Go?" GAFCON began in 2008 as a Global Anglican Future Conference and a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. Deborah Namamonde, Susan Nabugudde, UBC News.
The Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, has sensitized residents of Kasambia Village Mubende district on how to benefit from government programs to improve their welfare. The Director NRM Mobilization was in a workshop held at Kasambia Stadium. Brigadier Patrick Mwesije, one of the facilitators, said that the workshop is timely, especially in changing the residents' mindset.
The Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, has sensitized Kasambia Village Residents in Mubende District on mobilization techniques. This was during the National Patriotism Corps Uganda workshop, where the Director NRM Mobilization, Rosemary Seninde, asserted the need of training leaders on leadership skills.
These trainings are very crucial. Our leaders need to be trained in order to understand and appreciate their roles as leaders and what they are supposed to do. The NRM government has put in place quite a lot of things, but if our leaders don't know what to do, and that means they cannot also help, they can't help their people. So I want to appreciate the Patriotism Club, the Patriotism Secretariat for the work well done and for organizing this training for these leaders.
Seninde asked leaders to serve without discriminating in color and party for the development of the country.
Whether you are LC1 or what you level 1 or what you are the sky can be the limit. Osobola buli wamu osobola okutuukawo nange naliyo nentuukayo.
She warned leaders that have swindled money allocated for government programs and asked residents to form associations to access parish development model funds. Brigadier General Patrick Mwesige said the trainees have acquired leadership skills.
We want these people to have values that are going to help them raise household incomes according to the National Planning Authority, whose main purpose these 5 years is to raise household incomes. We are therefore interested in these people, especially on the way they do their work. We want them to love to work hard for prosperity. We want them to love what they are doing, to love other people.
The residents have undergone an ideological orientation course and have been drawn from all parts of socio-economic stratum of Kasambia, with local council leaders and NRM chairpersons and informal groups, among others.
They are undergoing, as I said, ideological training, and the purpose of that is really to inculcate norms and values and positive attitudes. Well, this will end up in changing the way they think, the way they make decisions in their day-to-day life, and in their struggle for socio-economic transformation.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
Uganda's High Commissioner to Southern Africa, Paul Amoru, has presented his credentials to the President of the Republic of Namibia, Hage Geingob, in Windhoek. In his remarks, Amoru highlighted the excellent and cordial relations enjoyed by the two countries, as these details share with us.
While presenting his credentials to the head of the Republic of Namibia, Hage Geingob, Uganda's High Commissioner to Southern Africa, Paul Amoru, highlighted the need to strengthen investment relations between the two countries. Amoru adds that the operationalization of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area is critical to enhancing trade and investment, noting that Namibia Chamber of Commerce and Uganda Chamber of Commerce and Industry need to work closely.
For the opportunity to finally present my credentials. And Namibia is a great country, it's a friendly country. We enjoy warm bilateral ties at political level and also economic level. So this is another opportunity for me to build on what my predecessors did and to work especially towards now promoting commercial and economic diplomacy and also encouraging people-to-people contact. Business to business and government to government.
Uganda's priority areas of interest with Namibia include value addition in the beef industry, agriculture, coffee and tea, and boosting cooperation in tourism and hospitality industry.
We want to open markets. It's important to know that the Uganda Hotel and Tourism Institute is already working closely with the Namibian hotel owners, and they are doing joint trainings to boost tourism and the hospitality industry. So that is what we are going to build on, but open other areas where we can attract investors from both countries, but also be able to open markets for our commodities. We have coffee. The beef industry is strong here, so Uganda is looking forward to working with the Namibian beef. Yes.
Amoru further pledged Uganda's commitment towards deepening the scope of bilateral relations and support the agenda of accelerating intra-African trade while enhancing coordination with regional and international organizations. I'm Nafka Farida and Wycliffe Modachi.
Let's now take a short commercial break and return with more UBC News tonight. Please stay tuned.
Talk with freedom. Get MTN Freedom voice bundles that don't expire. Dial *100 *21# or my MTN app for more bundles. Together, we're unstoppable.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
She is the future of Uganda.
And as a policy maker, the policies I enact today will protect her from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. We each have a role to play in empowering our teenage girls to protect them from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. Because when we empower them, we empower our nation. Protect the girl, save the nation.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100*10# to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100*10#. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100*10# to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, under the auspices of the East African Community, will host the 10th East African Petroleum Conference and Exhibition 2023 from the 9th to the 11th of May 2023 at the Kampala Serena Hotel in Uganda. Take full advantage of the investment opportunities in the East African region's vibrant oil and gas sector. To find out more on how to sponsor, exhibit, or attend the 10th EAPCE 23, visit www.eapce23.eac.int.
It's the encounters with our majestic gorillas, the thrill of taking on the falls of the Nile River, the joy of discovering new traditions, and a lot more. Join us at the 2023 Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo from the 26th to the 29th of April at the Commonwealth Resort, Munyonyo. Rediscover our country's uniqueness and see what the tourism sector has in store for you. Visit www.poate.co.ug to secure your spot and get set to learn, network, and explore. The Pearl of Africa Tourism Expo is brought to you by the Uganda Tourism Board in partnership with Competitiveness and Enterprise Development Projects. Explore Uganda, the Pearl of Africa.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. And in more news, the National Curriculum Development Center and the Ministry of Education and Sports rolled out the lower secondary curriculum 3 years back, aimed at producing secondary school graduates with skills that are competitive on the labor market. The Director, Basic and Secondary at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Ismail Mulindwa, says that the curriculum will transform the country. Details follow.
The lower secondary curriculum is being implemented in all secondary schools countrywide, and the cohort of 2023 Senior 3 learners are due for occupational competency-based assessment in November by the Directorate of Industrial Training. Educational officials and Directorate of Industrial Training staff are in the regions of Central, Eastern, Western and Northern Uganda to disseminate the lower secondary curriculum to the implementers. The Director, Basic and Secondary Education, Ismail Mulindwa, represented by the Principal Education Officer, Hajara Dembe, says lower secondary school graduates will be employable and competitive on the labor market.
You can rename, instead of calling it DIT, call it competence-based. What can the children do, and at the end of that training can earn a living? The Senior 3 candidates that is going to be our first cohort for assessment for certification.
The Deputy Director, National Curriculum Development Center, in charge of curriculum review and instructional materials development, Dr. Bernadette Nambi Karuhanga, says the curriculum is a blessing that will produce comprehensive citizens.
We are likely to cover the entire country, having all schools on board, but also having all learners on board, because our interest is to make sure that each learner has some kind of specialized skill that they can be proud of even after they have transited to Senior 4 and graduated, so that if they cannot progress academically to Senior 5, they are at least equipped with some kind of skills that they can use at the end of the day.
School administrators say learners will be equipped with hands-on skills which will transform their livelihood.
When we look at the new curriculum as compared to the old curriculum, which was knowledge-based, we can see a very big benefit regarding the practicability of the subjects, because it's a hands-on kind of curriculum, and the learners have been able to discover their potential, their talents, and we can see that when the learners leave school, they'll be able to be socially acceptable.
I wish to appreciate DIT as a body, first of all, for recognizing that the education system of Uganda needed to be vocationalized, and they participated in the same. I would also appreciate UNEB as a body that has taken us for so many years, from the time we went through education up to date. The fact that they also realized that they needed another body that they would work with to ensure that we teach our learners to attain the best.
Furthermore, Entebbe Magistrate Court has charged and remanded a blogger and businessman, Charles Chagaba, to Luzira Government Prison. Charles Chagaba was charged with 7 counts related to robbery, damage of property, among others, which offences he committed between June and December 2022.
At 2:30 p.m., businessman Charles Chagaba was read at the Magistrates Court in Entebbe to face charges that led to his arrest. Before court, Charles Chagaba was charged with 7 counts related to robbery, damage of property, among others, which offences he committed between June and December 2023.
Era mbogenderevu wayonoona ekisenge kya kabugolojas katwalamu obukaddaana Chagaba Charles ne bano ennaku z'omwezi 29 omwezi ogw'omukaaga 2022 eziiru tawuni kanso y'ekajjansi mu disitulikiti y'e Wakiso obugenderevu era obutakkirizibwa mu mateeka wayonoona ennyumba ya Eva Nalwanga ne balamu obukadde 28.
Chagaba pleaded not guilty to all the alleged offences. Prosecution told court that inquiries in the matter still ongoing, thus asking court for more time. Due to time, court wasn't able to entertain his bail application. However, court issued criminal summons against Chagaba's co-accused, Ewan Kabosu Benon and Tulia Singura Ronald.
The case is adjourned to 28th April 2023 for your bail application and criminal summons issue for A1 Kabosu Benon and A2 Tulia Singura Ronald.
Court resumed on 28th April 2023 for Chagaba bail application. Some of the affected residents whose property were destroyed talked to UBC after court.
Banteekako emisango banzigalidde olwamala okunzigalira ne bajja ne bayonoona ebintu byange byonna ebyali ku ttaka byonna ne babyonoona ne babimalako. Sente zaffe zaayonooneka, tuguze ku bantu abatuufu ne bo baagala bintu byakubba bobbi. So kituleese wano ku kkooti twagala kufuna bwenkanya. Nze gw'olaba wano ndi mu kubonaabona banteekako emisango simanyi n'emeka. Nina attempted murder, nina egya robbery, nina egya malicious damage.
They also raised concern following the release of Chagaba by High Court.
Era kyatusanyusizza nnyo nti anti-corruption yavuddeyo neddamu n'ekwata omwami ono. Era ekituleese wano ku kkooti kwe kulaba ng'emisango gyaffe gikolwako.
Ffe tugamba nti omuntu ono tasaana kubeera mu bantu ne banne. Naye kkooti z'e Kampala tetumanyi kiri Kampala. Kyova olaba ng'aziyaayaanira kubanga ababbi banne abalamuzi abali eyo bangi. Ffe abaawandiika principal judge tatugambyeko nti bannange mujje mbabuulire.
Charles Chagaba was arrested by State House Anti-Corruption Unit. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Jerry con. Jerry con. Hey, Master Blaster. Touch him, man. Bang Jerry con with muscle. Those ones who say go for you only. Mundava. Best movies I teach you. But never gonna move to Muscari. Because of the camera is very far. Is you serious? Is yes you? what? Yeah? You step it on it. Add kilometers to your legs. And you get your sugar. We buy meat from Umaru. And Umaru refuse to give you enough meat. Mama! Show him that they don't joke with you. Umaru,
okukakaluka n'okulungi kwetaagako omuntu akuyambako n'olwekyo tujja kukuteerawo embeera esaanidde osobole okukola ekisinga awamu teri kitulema.
This isn't just a girl. She is the future. This is a teacher, a doctor, a community leader, our future president.
Their support meant so much to me, and as a teenage girl, I stayed focused and was protected from child marriage and teenage pregnancy. I will support other girls against child marriage and teenage pregnancy.
Take action. Report any case of defilement or child marriage to the police or call Sauti 116.
It's Freaky Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial *100 *10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial *100 *10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial *100 *10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. It's now time for business. Equipped masons, painters, plumbers and metal fabricators remain an important part of the development and growth of the real estate sector. In this regard, a section of these people selected from Kampala Capital City Business District have been trained to align them with present-day demands of the sector. The head of Architecture and Physical Planning Department at the College of Engineering, Design and Art and Technology, Dr. Chigundu Amin Tamale, says that the training intends to offer a platform for sharing accumulated scientific knowledge between students and builders, loosely referred to as Fundy.
For every homeowner or property owner in the real estate sector has at one time sought services of a Fundy, the guy with basic knowledge in the construction world. Shortage of engineers as well as architects has in a way created room for self-proclaimed builders.
Many of us grew up or lived in houses constructed by Fundis. And also we lack enough engineer, architects and other professions which could be used to construct houses in Uganda. So they have been filling that gap.
Vital as they are, their skills accumulated out of experience could be the leading cause for unexplained causes of accidents on construction sites or even years later after the construction works.
The majority stopped in primary, maybe primary 5, primary 4, primary 6. And they have learned what they are doing on job, on site, and from friends, fellow Fundis. So in such a situation, you can also learn wrong things. For example, a Fundi will go to a construction site which is being supervised by an engineer, and he will be told, for example, to mix 1 bag of cement to 4 wheelbarrows. So he will take it as a gospel truth. But not all wheelbarrows are standard wheelbarrows. Maybe it could have been 1 bag of cement to 2 bags of sand. So there is that mismatch. We thought it would be important to interface with them.
Over 200 masons, painters, plumbers and metal fabricators have been honed with anticipation for improved performance in the real estate development sector.
And we also have students or people who have learned from the formal training institution. So there has always been that gap and friction. So we want to see how we can share and share our experience, because they have also accumulated some experience and knowledge. So tapping into that can also help transform our country.
With promising results from the first cohort, Dr. Chigundu says plans to widen the scope and capture Fundis beyond Kampala are soon materializing.
So in future we can also invite painters, carpenters. We can also invite electricians.
Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
The third edition of the Best of the Pal Coffee Competition 2023, organized by the Uganda Coffee Development Authority in partnership with the European Union and the Uganda Coffee Federation under the Cocoa Dev project, with this edition focusing on Arabica coffee. Now, I had a chance to interact with some of the organizers and filed this report. The submitted samples for the Best of the Pal Coffee Competition 2023 are currently being evaluated by a panel of 5 expert judges at the UCDA laboratory at Uma Showgrounds, Lugogo. The competition was open to coffee farmers, producers and exporters who produce high-quality Arabica coffee.
We have 2 of them. The Arabica one usually happens at this time, and it happens in this month, usually April, because we want to have coffees that are coming from the main harvest of Arabica. Then the one for Robusta, usually we have it in August, where we get coffees that were coming from the main season of the Robusta growing areas.
Arabica coffee in Uganda is known for its distinct flavors and comes from regions such as Mount Elgon, Kasese, and Zombo in the West Nile region. The goal of the competition is to promote good coffee growing practices that ensure international quality standards, making Uganda a reference market for various types of coffee.
Farmers are trying their best so far, so I think they just need to put more efforts and more clarity on post-harvest handling. But so far they are doing a good job, especially the ones submitted for this competition. Samples are doing well. So we encourage others. We need more farmers and cooperatives and farmer groups and exporters to join into the competition. This can be a way for them to improve. Even the winners can always be benchmarked for the other people to improve. And also the benefit of this competition is that every competitor gets a technical report with feedback. So you know that maybe you did like this, but you can improve.
This year, 76 samples of Arabica coffee were submitted. Out of these, 41 were washed, 29 were natural, and only 6 were honey processed. These samples are from 21 farmers, cooperatives and exporters, which signifies a growing appreciation for producing high-quality Arabica coffee in Uganda.
So as long as you're a farmer and you're producing in the right way, you have good quality, that is the criteria. But also it would always be good to have in stock a minimum of at least one bag, that is 60 kilogram bag, so that when you get a buyer, we can actually present the coffee other than presenting just a sample and you don't have the quantity that a buyer can actually buy.
The judging process involves cupping, where the judges carefully evaluate the aroma, flavor, acidity, and the body of each coffee sample. The winners will be selected based on the highest scores and will be recognized for their excellence in the Arabica coffee subsector. Wadulo Makanald, UBC News, at Uma Showgrounds in Kampala. Yes, and with that, we've come to the end of our 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience. With me, Wadulo Arnold, your news anchor for the night, and Mugalo Muhammad, your sign language interpreter. Have yourselves a lovely one.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. It's Freaky Friday!
Friday from Airtel. Buy or gift. Buy or give.
Get freaky too! Dial star 100 star 10 hash to load a Freaky Friday bundle for you to enjoy the best offers on voice and data.
To buy a bundle for friends and family, dial star 100 star 10 hash. Freaky Friday with Airtel. Buy or gift a bundle today. Dial star 100 star 10 hash to get started. Airtel, the smartphone network.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Yes, I am. Then come and Rachel Talents representing for the best DJ. DJ Santos 256. Kabaka Wapate. Oh, your mommy. Camp where the thugs them camp at 2 pound within a van back. It in your handbag, your knapsack, it in your backpack. This melody your girlfriend contact. Some boy not know this. Them only come around like tourists on the beach with a few club sodas, bedtime stories, and pose like them name Chuck Norris. And don't know the real hardcore, cause sandals and no back to. The thugs them with where them got to. And won't think twice to shot to. Don't make them spot you unless you carry guns a lot too.
Put some respect when you mention my name.
Yes, stop laugh and black off chop it. Then them we learn pop up and them start stop it. With the pin file long and it a beat drop it. Police come in a jeep and them can't stop it. Some say them a playboy rabbit. Funny man a get dropped like a bad habit. Son of a post off if you don't have it. Rastafari stands alone.